All right, let's do this. We're going to keep this video pretty short, about 4 minutes long. This is tonight's Strikeman session. For those that don't know what that is, Strikeman is a laser cartridge that goes into your gun. They have them for pistols, they have them for rifles, all different calibers. Mine's 9mm, shooting the Taurus G3 Toro. Let's go through this. This is my first 10-minute session. This was with both hands from 21 feet. I don't know what the accuracy was because I didn't keep up with it tonight as far as what the exact accuracy was, but it doesn't really matter. Just focusing on trigger control, form. I got my new holster, which I think I showed that in a previous video. I got it all set up on the QLS fork and receiver setup, working pretty good. And I'm waiting for my tactical belt to come in. I got a tracking number for that, so I know it's on its way. But meantime, I'm using kind of my old leather belt, which is fine. It's a good belt. It's kind of a thick 1.5-inch belt that I use sometimes to carry. Obviously not the same as a tactical belt with the Molly system, but for tonight's session, that's what I used. So I was drawing from the holster. So the first night, finally got everything set up where I can actually draw from my new holster. So really cool. So this is all gun in the holster, pull it from the holster, get on target, be as smooth as possible. So far I'm still using iron sights because I've got some tools coming in to deal with this stupid issue with the one of the screws is stuck on the plate for my my optic plate. I gotta, whatever, I'm not gonna get into it. That's coming soon. For now, I'm still using iron sights. So this is all iron sights from 21 feet. So a pretty good session, just working on form and trigger control as much as possible. Most of these shots are pull from the holster, single shot, put it back in the holster. Some of them were, pull from the holster, get on target as quickly as possible, but also smooth and accurately as possible, and do some follow-up shots too. So that's what you're seeing. Some of it's a little bit of rapid fire mixed in with pulling from the holster, so I kind of mixed it up here. So the shots that are more around the 9 and 10 area from 21 feet or from 7 yards is, me getting the iron sights and taking the time and being smooth. The other ones are a little bit me picking up the pace or rapid, doing one shot after another. So near the end of each 10-minute session, I pick up the pace and try to go from being super smooth to mixing in some fast drawing time. So doing both, right? I told myself a couple times tonight, shoot like your life depends on it. Yeah. There's a big difference, and I'm not some type of guru, and I'm not trying to pretend that I am. I'm just definitely still at the very beginning of all this and trying to get better at pistol shooting. But there's a big difference between shooting for sport, because there's a whole industry around sport shooting, which is great, and then compared to self-defense or even combat, right? These are totally different ways of thinking about using your firearm. Even the way you potentially grip the weapon would be different in combat or self-defense than in sporting. So those are things that I think about. Thumb down. There's a thumb down technique that's used by some of the military. I know the IDF in Israel uses thumb down. I think some people, like in the Navy SEALs, I'm not saying they all do it, but some do it. It depends on the person, I guess, but thumb down has its merits. Some people don't like it. I'm experimenting with it. Thumb down simply means your primary hand, in my case, right hand. The thumb is not pointing forward. It's actually curled and down. And if you don't know who Masada Ayub is, you can check him out on YouTube. He talks about the difference between your thumb position, the advantages and disadvantages. And the thumb down position was one of the strongest positions for an attacker or a combatant will have a much harder time getting the gun out of your hands. And to be honest with you guys and gals, I'm shooting for that. Yes, I may get into sports shooting, and that's fine, but I'm I'm first focused on really good technique, being smooth, obviously trying to be as fast as I can and smooth at the same time. But also, I don't want that weapon being turned on me as a liability, right? I don't want someone getting it out of my hands. So this is the way I think about it. I think about if I had to be in a self-defense situation, or even, I'm not obviously not in the military, but you never know when you might get into a situation where you're dealing with multiple assailants. It could happen. Whatever. So I think more like on those lines first, I think is important. And then if I want to get into some sport shooting, which I might, I think that's fine. I don't think I would necessarily change my grip. Anyway, I'm experimenting with thumb down for right now. I think that's, for me, feels like the best grip. I definitely have a much more secure grip on the pistol. Adapting to it so that I still have a smooth trigger pull, may take a little while, but that's whatever. That's the whole point of practicing, right? Anyways, this is the both hands target. Let's move on to the next one. This is left hand only. Left hand only, looking through the sights from 21 feet or 7 yards. So I find this interesting because I can see that there's basically, if you look at this, there's a line going across the, right? So this is revealing something, which I'll think about it in a little while. But obviously this reveals something's going on, right? Like an oscillation or something going on with the way that I shoot left-handed. Because you can see the majority of the shots are along this line. And then, of course, there's some peripheral. Yeah, I think all my shots left-handed did land on the paper here. Like nothing missed the paper. Which my left hand's my offhand, so. And just like I did with both hands, near the end of the 10-minute session, I picked up the speed a little bit and tried to shoot quicker. Well, the thing left-handed was I wasn't pulling from the holster because I only have a right-hand holster. So that's, okay. This is more like your right hand's been hurt kind of thing, and you have to switch to left hand. Or you got two pistols out at the same time having fun, whatever. Okay. Or heck, you get two pistols out and you're taking on multiple assailants and you're using two hands to do it. Okay, take your pick. I think training both hands is really, really important. If you think about basketball, the best basketball players are excellent with both hands. They can dribble, lay up, shoot both hands. That's kind of the way I look at it. You should be in my opinion, you should be practicing both hands. Okay, so that's the left hand. I see kind of a pattern here I'm going to kind of analyze it and think about it a little bit. Okay, this is the right hand. And at first I thought, this can't be the right hand. It's got to be two hands. But no, this is my right hand. Look at that. Right hand from 21 feet. Oy, oy, oy. I had some, excuse me, I had some rapid firing that I did in this right hand session, and for whatever the reason, the app was not picking them up. So if you start clicking off a bunch of fast shots, sometimes the app won't pick up the laser hitting the paper. So there was some that did get away, kind of like this one, that the app just didn't pick up. But then again, I saw some 10s that were getting tacked, and I think the phone has a hard time picking up a laser that sometimes hits in the dark part of the 10. Sometimes it won't pick them up. Anyway, that's my right hand. Look at that. Please. When I go to do my next session, I'll look at this again and make sure I didn't mix up my right hand in both hands. But from what I could tell, based on the timestamp, this was the right hand. So amazing. I was kind of shocked to see this accuracy. When you're shooting, I don't really think about, I do think about feedback on the individual shots, but I don't think about sequential shots. These are all, again, coming out of the holster. I put it in the holster, pull out, shoot one shot, reholster the gun, do it again, over and over and over. That first shot's super critical. You're going to be on target, as smooth and as fast as you can. And near the end of this session, I was also pulling from the holsters pretty fast as I mixed in some fast shots. Okay, and then the last one, this is point shooting. I'm not using the sights at all. And I'm using only my right hand here. So I probably should throw in a fifth thing, that's point shooting with my left hand, which I only done that a few times. I probably should throw that in there in my practice sessions. But as it is right now, the practice sessions are about 40 minutes long, so I'm not sure I always have the time to do another 10 minutes. But so this is point shooting. Again, from the holster, pull it out, one shot. And that's really, really, I can't even begin to, now the more I've been doing this for a few days now, maybe a week, I can't even begin to express how really important it is to get that first shot. Super important. I'll tell you why. Because I realized the laser, you can see it hit the target. It gives you feedback. Okay, in the real world, you might not get that feedback. You know, the bullet, the projectile goes down range wherever you're going, shooting. You may get feedback from it, you may not. Okay. And that's really important. Why? Because with a laser, let's say like I did hit some off target, like up here or down here or whatever, or over here, right? And I missed the target completely. Well, I can see it hit the wall. Like you see a light here, right? I see it hitting the wall, the laser. So your mind can quickly adapt, and let's say I missed over here. Your mind will quickly adapt and move it just like a fraction of an inch down and right, because you see that you missed. Okay, but in the real world, that may not happen. You may not know that you missed high and left. You might, but you might not. So the one thing you got to be careful about when you're shooting laser is don't just start shooting more rounds right away. If your first shot is off, that's only acceptable if you hit the target the first time. Okay, and this is just me giving my opinion, okay? If I miss the target, I stop right there. I put the gun right back in the holster and try it again. Because there really isn't going to necessarily be, there may not be a second chance in real life. You follow me? So I experimented with several like positions where I put my right hand and arm point shooting out of the holster. You know, not using the sights. And I'm definitely better if I pull from the holster and extend my arm out. Okay? So the farther my arm is extended out, the more accurate I'm going to be. That makes sense, right? Obviously, the longer that line is, the further away the gun is from you, the better you can line it up with your eye. Even though you're not bringing it up to your eye and using the iron sights or the red dot, you can still get an approximation by just looking down your arm. Okay, so when the gun comes up out of the holster, your arm, as long as your elbow isn't swinging all over the place, it actually acts like your point of aim. You can use it like quickly as a reference. Okay, so when I extend my arm out a little bit, maybe like halfway, 2/3 of the way, the accuracy picks up dramatically. So that's point shooting with your arm out a little bit. That's different than shooting strictly from the hip, where you pull the gun out and the gun, your hands low and down by your hip. That's much harder. I'm going to be doing both, but that is significantly harder. For me, it is at this point. Like my percentage of being on target by extending my arm a little bit is much higher than shooting strictly from the hip. From the hip, oh my gosh, it's probably like 20%, 30%. Okay, but from just extending my arm out a little bit, not bringing it up to my eye now. I'm still below like maybe like upper abdomen, lower chest areas where I have the gun, like as far as height goes. And I was able to, as I got halfway through this 10-minute session, point shooting, I started really focusing on pulling the gun from the holster as fast as I could and getting on target and shooting just to see if I could land on the paper. And a lot of times I did, like a good percentage of times. I don't know what the percentage was. Okay, but I could, kind of calculate in my head as I was going along. And by the time I got to the end of the session, I could pull from the holster pretty fast, like about as fast as I could, and hit the target. And that just goes to show what practice will do, even just 10 minutes. From the beginning of the 10 minutes to the end, your mind and your body will begin to synchronize, and you'll be amazed what happens. Now just compound that by doing it every day or at least 4 or 5 times a week. Like I noticed, like a day or two went by and I didn't have a chance to shoot. Oh my God! I noticed immediately that I hadn't shot in 2 days. And I told myself tonight, no, you got to shoot. Get up. Go. I was busy doing some other stuff, but I had to get up and shoot. It was like I spent 40 minutes shooting. So I know right now it's really important to stay on top of it and shoot as often as I can, like hopefully every night. I'm trying to do every night, but it doesn't always happen, but I'm trying. Super important. Because I noticed, like I said, just as you start doing it more, the accuracy starts coming up, and the ability to both pull from the holster quick and be smooth, it starts to mesh. It all starts, you're able to start doing both. You have to at the beginning of the session, point shooting, I was slow and methodical. And then as time went on, I picked up the pace a little bit. Still trying to be smooth, of course. All right, that's it. That's all I got to share for tonight. I'm going to keep adapting. If you haven't checked out, there's a guy on YouTube. His channel is That Ain't Bad. Now, he's former military, pretty cool guy, amazing shooter, just absolutely amazing shooter. You want to go check him out. But we've been kind of talking a little bit back and forth on YouTube, just comment section stuff on some of his videos, and he's commented on my video, one of my videos recently, and he made a suggestion to run a camera on me at the same time I'm shooting. That's such a great idea, so I'm going to do that, because then you get to see the bad form, right? The camera's not going to lie. It's going to say, oh, look at, you're standing weird, you're leaning to one side, you're dipping your head, all these things I see that people do when I'm watching them on video. I see all kinds of weird stuff. People like bringing their head down to the gun rather than the gun up to their head, all this stuff, right? Bad footwork. I see some people leaning back on their heels, all kinds of weird stuff that people do. So that's a great idea. I'm going to do that. And then I can continue to just keep refining my technique and just keep getting better and better and better, right? So a shout out to That Ain't Bad for helping me out. This guy's an excellent shooter, guys. I don't ask him sensitive questions regarding his military, because he was probably Special Forces, Navy SEAL. I don't know exactly. It doesn't matter what he was. But he's very well trained, and he has an amazing ability. Okay, he probably has an amazing natural ability combined with his training that he did. Anyway, you want to go check him out. The guy can just, shoot a flea off a dog's ass, That's how good this guy is. Amazing. So very inspirational. Anyway, shout out to him for all the things that he does in the community. And we'll talk to you all real soon again next time.